Hello, my name is Kurt, and today I will be talking about why witches wear black. Now the answer is quite simple. We wear black, so we are not seen during the evenings. Witches operate during the nighttime. You do not want to be seen bearing a curse in your enemy's backyard. You do not want to be seen nailing a voodoo doll to your neighbor's tree. You know, you do not want to be seen running through the forest in the middle of the night. You don't want to be seen dancing, you know, around in the forest as well. You do not want to be seen, pretty much. That's one of the main reasons. It's it's a it's a stealth device. Because in ancient days, you need to always kind of keep these things hidden. Because if anybody found you, if anybody saw you, you would get hung, you would get decapitated, you would get punished. Punishment wasn't pleasant, so you had to keep yourself hidden and the things you do hidden. So you would operate during the evenings and you would wear black. But there's also a multitude of other reasons why I feel that witches wear black. It symbolizes sort of acknowledging the dark side of human nature. When you're a magical practitioner and you wear black, it's a constant reminder of kind of who you are and what you kind of do and the hidden things you know. And it's just carrying off a little darkness upon your back. Whereas everybody's kind of wearing bright colors and all this stuff, choosing not to embrace their animalistic and dark hidden natures and keeping that for closed doors and all that stuff. I feel that witches are free to acknowledge their dark natures and not hide it. Not hide the darkness that we kind of we carry that darkness and that the power of the night upon us. So it makes sense. Like I find that it's a kind of a fashion statement now amongst goth and emo people and stuff like that, and even kind of witchy practitioners nowadays too, because I don't know, it just doesn't seem that genuine to me, because it's like I feel the emo and the goth and all these fashion trends started with like ancient witchy traditions. That's where it was adopted from. The people who wore black. You know, and it also instills fear in a lot of people, especially in ancient days. If you were willing enough, like, to just kind of walk around in black clothing all the time during the day in kind of medieval times, like, people knew you were kind of a magical practitioner or something like that, and it instilled fear in a lot of people. And it still instills a lot of fear today, to be quite honest with you. Um, you could just walk down the street dressed in all black, and people, oh, he's a Satanist, or oh, he's an evil person, especially Christian people. Oh, he's a devil worshiper, this and that. It's completely ridiculous, but that fear that other people project upon us is to our advantage. It is our tool. Um, it is better to be feared. It is better to be feared by cowardly people than to accept those cowardly people into our ranks, because all of them are so fearful they would not be able to just kind of do anything. They're frightened that we wear black clothing all the time. That's just like something stupid. Expose them to the stuff that we really do. You know, aside from clothing, show them the things we do in the middle of the night. Show them the hidden stuff, and there's it just won't be tolerated. Like, this is why I understand why there's so much fear, but it's cowardice, like I said, because it's a Christian belief. Like, witchcraft and ritualism and dancing and all these things date far back before Christianity, way before, you know, any sort of Jesus or God or bullshit Bible was even written, you know. So this is ancient practices we are talking about. The Egyptians, before that even, cavemen practiced rituals and all this stuff. It is sort of part of human nature, to be quite honest with you. Ritual and all this stuff is intrinsically found within us all. We just choose to ignore it. You know what our rituals have become now? Getting up in the morning, having our cup of coffee at the exact same time, taking a shower, getting in your car at the exact same time in order to be in work exactly on time, and then you stay in work from this hour to that hour, and then after work you maybe have a cigarette like right after you come out while you're driving back home. These have all become our rituals. Mundane tasks have become our rituals, but we are creatures of habit and we are creatures of ritual. We just replaced true rituals with the rituals of society. So that's just how it is. And there's another reason why black is kind of worn could be sort of to acknowledge our ancient bloodline. Like if any of you have like witches in your past, they wore black and did witchy stuff, and um, most likely passed down a blessing with the bloodline in order for you to become awakened. That's how witches work. See, I'm a witch, right? And if I were to ever have children, I would pass down a blessing through my bloodline. Meaning, all my children, whether they wanted to or not, would kind of have this kind of witchy essence in them. And it's only a matter of time until it awakens, you know. Of course, if I had like 7 children, for example, maybe 5 of them would be regular people. They wouldn't know anything, they wouldn't acknowledge anything, but maybe 2 of them, or maybe even 1 of them, would be sort of a person with supernatural abilities and all this stuff, see? So this is how it's done. This could be thousands of years, you know. So, this is a beautiful thing. So, like I said, it's sort of carrying on an ancient tradition. Carrying on, like, I know somewhere in my family, like in ancient times, there was just some kind of witchy guy or a witchy female. Most likely female, because females are more drawn to this, but like I said, like sort of current generations in my family, there's like sort of psychics and all this stuff, and religious clergy and all this stuff. But I feel that in ancient days there was just maybe one or maybe a few people in my bloodline that acknowledged the witch aspect, because my bloodline kind of comes from Europe. So ancient Europe is where most witches were found. And I feel that there was just some witchy female that kind of passed down a blessing through bloodline. And I became the one to heed the call because everybody else in my family is just kind of, like I said, they might have sort of psychic abilities, they might be religious clergy, but they're not witchy in nature. You know, it's more embracing mundane reality, dogma, and all this stuff, and they're just stupid to me. You know, so I became the one to heed the call. I was always the black sheep of the family anyway. You know, always the kind of weird one that had musical ability and would wear band shirts and listen to music that a majority of the family just didn't. Anyway, like, I was just sort of the outcast. I didn't get along with kind of anybody in my kind of immediate family because I feel that I have a more ancient calling. Like, I feel more connected with my, great grandparents and great 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 grandparents, and I kind of feel them. I feel my ancestry, you know what I mean? And I feel connected more with my late ancestry than I kind of do with modern kind of family members, so like I said, this is a really interesting thing. But like I said, it's funny if you think about it. If I were to pass down some kind of blessing to my future generations of my family, doesn't even have to be kind of blood related family, because there's ways to become sort of blood related family with somebody that's not. Anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, pass on this blessing, and then I think maybe 100 years from now, or 200 or 300 years from now, like in some kind of super futuristic society where everybody has like robots and all this shit, and then there's just this one witchy person that embraces the ancient days, the ancient knowledge and all this stuff. There's so many things I could pass down, so much knowledge and stuff. But it's funny because that's kind of what modern witches are, if you think about it. Like, think about it. We're practicing things from ancient times. You know what I mean? Like, this is why we are ridiculed. This is why we are made fun of. This is why people just call us silly and, delusional, or they think it's just a fashion statement, or they think, it's just a game. Well, it might be just a game when you're 14 years old and you're dressing in black and you think you're fucking some kind of sorcerer or something. But when you get older, when you're around 23, like 30s, 40s, like, I think people should kind of realize that it's not a joke. It's something real and true. And they're too afraid to look into it. See, they ridicule, they make fun of it. But tell them to pick up a book on real witchcraft and try some of the stuff in there. Like, I think they would be too pansy to even spill their blood on a piece of paper, you know. And this is like from Macho Men and all this shit. Like I don't understand it. Uh, it's funny. That's the other thing too, though. You give a regular person like a book with like very intense witchy knowledge, they won't know how to use it anyway, because it's not about the knowledge. It's not what's in the book. It's about the power within yourself, and some people just don't have that. So you could spill your blood upon the paper. You could call upon all these spirits and all this stuff, but nothing will really happen. Because if you don't have that power within you, if you don't have that understanding, if you haven't been sort of, you know, transformed into a magical practitioner, then it just kind of won't work. And that's why I feel a lot of people get into it and give up. They try it, they try it, it doesn't work, and they're like, oh, it's a bunch of bullshit. But it's not a bunch of bullshit. They just don't have the bloodline. And there's ways to pass down the bloodline to people that are willing. This is where initiations come into play, and this is why formal kind of initiations are an important thing. So you can't just necessarily... You can if you're a natural witch. You could just pick up random witchy books and start doing stuff, and it'll start working. Magic is available to anybody. Just gotta open your mind up to it. You don't have to be a witch person. You don't have to be anything. You could be a Buddhist tantric guru, and you could still use magic, because it's energy. But the thing is, the problem with other belief systems and their uses of energy is that they hold a lot of things back, you won't see kind of a tantric Buddhist, gather feathers from a bird and then cut themselves and boil stuff in a cauldron, or, use like their seminal fluids and all this stuff. Like, it's very, like, all these other things are tame. But like I said, if you understand the true power and the potential of who you are and what is kind of flowing through you, like, why would you hold back? Why wouldn't I use my blood if it is such a strong thing, Why would I meditate for 3 hours to project energy in something when I could just spill my blood upon it and then meditate on top of that to make it twice as strong? You know what I mean? Never made sense to me. So yeah, that's it. this turned into a little like kind of ramble, but I just like to express things in my videos and stuff like that. But we are very misunderstood. There are a lot of fakers and a lot of people, like I said, that get into it for a while and they just drop out of it. But there's people that have been in this, like I said, ancient bloodlines I'm talking about here, that have been here, that have been practicing this for thousands of years, that realize this and have this potential within them. You know, it's something you feel. It's a natural type of feeling, and you can't fight it. It's strange. It's like you can try as hard as you want. I tried embracing all these other belief systems. I'm like, oh, maybe I should look into Buddhism. Maybe I should look into this, that, blah, 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 blah. But then it's like, Buddhism gave me the fundamental practice of kind of meditation, empowering myself with meditation. But what I had within me is always sort of working with energy and energy projection. Even if I would meditate like a regular Buddhist, I was kind of absorbing energy and projecting it towards my will and all this stuff. And then, like I said, sooner or later I just said, this is too restricting. I want to let out the wild side and do what I know within myself. And this is where true magic comes from. Acknowledging your true nature and doing what you feel. You find the silver coin and it resonates with you, then you use that. You find a stupid piece of paper on the sidewalk, a random candy wrapper, and to you that's significant, and you feel things from it, and maybe, like, whatever, you could use that. Who knows who had that candy wrapper? Maybe it was some kind of, like, powerful person or whatever, and then you use that in a ritual, whatever, and then it creates, like, a lot of powerful things. You know what I mean? So it's a weird type of way of perceiving the world around you, but once you feel these things, you can't necessarily ignore them. You can, but why should you? So anyway, that was my little video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you guys understand now.